Welcome back to Infidelity Tales Lab. We're incredibly grateful for your support. Before we begin today's tale, tell us, which city or country are you joining us from? We love connecting with our global audience. Now, let's dive into today's story. Chapter 1. The Funeral. Reed Montgomery stood alone at the edge of the small grave, raindrops mixing with his tears as the tiny white casket was lowered into the ground. 5-year-old Lily, sweet and innocent, was gone forever. Pneumonia had claimed her after a week-long battle that Reed had fought alongside her, sleeping in hospital chairs, begging doctors, and praying to gods he'd never believed in. But Lily's mother, his wife of 3 years, Allison, was nowhere to be seen. The cemetery workers glanced at him with awkward pity. They were used to groups of mourners, not solitary men burying children. Reed's hand tightened around his phone, which had buzzed with a new Instagram notification minutes before the service. Allison, radiant in a red bikini on a Hawaiian beach, cocktail in hand, leaning against Trent Patterson, her business associate, who had apparently become much more. Impossible to get a flight back. Send photos and RIP to your stepdaughter. The text had come at 3 a.m. when Reed was finalizing funeral arrangements with eyes raw from crying. Sir, would you like a moment alone? The funeral director's voice cut through his thoughts. Yes, thank you. His voice sounded hollow to his own ears. When they were gone, Reed knelt and placed a small stuffed unicorn, Lily's favorite, atop the fresh dirt. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I promised I'd always protect you. He stood, straightening his black suit as rain pelted harder. 3 years ago, he'd met Allison, a widow with a toddler. Reed, who had built a successful security consulting business after leaving the military, had fallen for both of them instantly. Lily had called him Daddy Reed within months. He'd adopted her last year, becoming her legal father. Now she was gone, and the mother who should have been holding his hand was #NG, living my best life from Maui. Reed walked to his car, ignoring concerned glances from distant relatives who hadn't known what to say to him. His phone buzzed again, another photo. This time Allison and Trent kissing at sunset. Something hardened inside Reed. The grief remained, but was now encased in something colder, more focused. At home, he walked past Lily's room, her drawings still taped to the walls, her clothes still in the hamper, and went straight to his office. He sat at his computer and opened a hidden folder labeled Insurance. Inside was everything he'd discovered in the weeks before Lily fell ill. The affair that had apparently been going on for months, bank transfers, hotel receipts, text messages extracted from Allison's cloud backup. Old habits from his intelligence days had never quite left him. Reed had planned to confront Allison after Lily recovered. Now those plans had changed. They think they know what pain is, he whispered to the empty room. They have no idea. He began to type, systematically, meticulously. The first outline of a plan formed. Not a crime of passion, but something more lasting, more complete. The tears had stopped. There would be time for grief later. For now, there would be justice. His kind of justice. Chapter 2. Shadows of the Past. 2 weeks after the funeral, Reed sat across from Nora Bishop, his longtime friend and the best investigator he knew. They'd served together years ago in military intelligence before he'd moved to the private sector and she'd become a private detective. Jesus, Reed, I'm so sorry about Lily. Nora's eyes were pained. She'd met Lily several times, brought her gifts. I need everything, Nora, not just the affair. She nodded, sliding a thick folder across the table. It's worse than you thought. Trent Patterson isn't just sleeping with your wife. They've known each other for years, before you ever met Allison. Reed's jaw tightened. Go on. They grew up together in Phoenix. Dated in high school. His family moved. They reconnected about 4 years ago through Facebook. Right before her first husband died, Reed felt the blood drain from his face. Are you saying? Nora held up a hand. Her first husband's death was ruled accidental. Car crash, blood alcohol level through the roof. But he wasn't known to be a heavy drinker. And Lily? Was she? Biological father unknown. Allison was already pregnant when she married husband number 1. DNA wouldn't match him or you. Reed closed his eyes. Everything he believed about his life for the past 3 years crumbled around him. There's more, Nora continued. They're planning something. Big purchases of property in Costa Rica through shell companies. There's a life insurance policy on you, taken out 6 months ago. $5 million. Reed stared at the folder. Were they going to kill me? After my daughter, he stopped. Not his daughter. Never had been. I don't know, but I think they were waiting for something. Nora's voice softened. Reed, I pulled Lily's medical records. The pneumonia that killed her, there were some irregularities. The hospital didn't catch it, but I had a medical examiner friend look at the blood work. What are you saying? Reed's voice was deadly quiet. Pneumonia was real, but her immune system was severely compromised. There were traces of something that shouldn't have been there. Something that would make a mild infection turn deadly. Reed couldn't breathe. The restaurant around them faded away. They killed her, he whispered. They killed my little girl. I can't prove it, Nora cautioned. But the timeline fits. Allison started giving Lily immune-boosting supplements about a month ago, according to the nanny. Then conveniently planned this Hawaii trip right when Lily started showing symptoms. Reed's grief transformed into something darker, harder. They won't get away with this. Reed, be careful. Going to the police with circumstantial. No police, Reed said flatly. No courts. No system that might let them walk. Nora studied his face. What are you planning? Justice, Reed said simply. He'd seen too much in his military days to believe in the system. Sometimes, justice had to be delivered personally. They're coming back next week, Nora said. What are you going to do? Reed thought of Lily's empty room. Her unicorn collection. The way she called him Daddy Reed, even after the adoption. How she'd never wake up again. I'm going to welcome my wife home, he said calmly. And then I'm going to destroy them both. Not quickly. Piece by piece. Everything they value. Everything they are. Nora looked concerned. Reed, don't worry. I'm not going to do anything stupid. His eyes met hers. It's going to be very, very smart. Chapter 3. Homecoming. The house was immaculate when Allison returned. Fresh flowers in every room, her favorite wine chilling, and Reed in a crisp button-down greeting her at the door. Oh my God, babe, I'm so sorry. Allison's performance was flawless. Teary eyes, trembling lip, the designer black dress she'd clearly purchased for the occasion. I tried everything to get back for the funeral. Reed embraced her, fighting revulsion. I know you did, honey. Over his shoulder, he saw Trent Patterson hovering awkwardly by the car. Tall, tan, expensively dressed. The human equivalent of a luxury watch advertisement. Trent drove me from the airport, Allison explained, wiping theatrical tears. He's been so supportive through all this. Reed smiled. The least I can do is invite him in for a drink. Surprise flickered across Allison's face. This wasn't the confrontation she'd expected. In the living room, Reed played the grieving but dignified husband perfectly. He served drinks, accepted Trent's practiced condolences, and nodded at all the right moments of Allison's fabricated story about desperate attempts to find flights back from Hawaii. It's been devastating, Reed said softly, looking appropriately destroyed. The house feels so empty without her. You two need time, Trent suggested smoothly. I should go. Actually, Reed said, I wanted to thank you for taking care of Allison. It means a lot knowing she wasn't alone through this. The look that passed between Allison and Trent was worth everything. Confusion mixed with the first hint of unease. Listen, Reed continued, I know this is unorthodox, but I could use the company. Would you stay for dinner? Both of you? I can't bear another meal alone in this house. More confused glances. This wasn't how confronting an affair was supposed to go. Of course, Allison said cautiously. During dinner, Reed was the perfect host, attentive, seemingly oblivious. He shared fond memories of Lily, watched Allison struggle to match his stories with appropriate emotions, and observed Trent's increasing discomfort. A toast, Reed said finally, raising his glass. To new beginnings. They clinked glasses nervously. After Trent left and Allison had gone upstairs, Reed made a call. It's done, Nora confirmed on the other end. Tracker on his car, spyware on both their phones. Everything they say or do, we'll know. And the other thing, backdated and planted. If anyone ever looks The evidence trail showing they researched those immune suppressants goes back 6 months. Reed ended the call and climbed the stairs. In the master bedroom, Allison was already in bed, scrolling through her phone. "You're taking this better than I expected," she ventured. Reed slid under the covers beside the woman who had helped kill his daughter. "Grief affects everyone differently," he said softly. "I know it soon, but have you thought about what to do with Lily's room? It might help with closure if we—" "Already handled it," Reed said. "I packed everything up. Donated it all." Relief washed over Allison's face. "That's very proactive of you. I've also been thinking we should get away. Maybe a trip, once I'm feeling up to it. Start fresh." "That sounds perfect," Allison said, reaching for his hand. "I'm here for you, babe. Whatever you need." Reed squeezed her hand and smiled. "I know you are." Later, when Allison was asleep, Reed slipped out of bed and went to the basement. Behind a false wall panel was a room Allison had never discovered. Inside, Lily's belongings were carefully arranged. Her favorite toys, clothes, drawings. A shrine to the little girl who had called him daddy. Next to them sat 3 laptops, each screen displaying different information. Allison's text messages with Trent, their location data, financial records. On the wall hung a detailed diagram with photos, timelines, and connecting threads. Phase 1 of his plan was complete. Allison and Trent believed they had gotten away with it. They thought Reed was oblivious, broken, malleable. They had no idea what was coming. Chapter 4. Calculated Moves. 1 month after Lily's funeral, Reed sat across from Lawrence Weber, his attorney and old college friend, in a wood-paneled office overlooking downtown. "You're sure about this?" Lawrence asked, sliding the documents across his desk. "These changes to your will and financial arrangements are significant." Reed signed without hesitation. "Never been more sure of anything." "And you're absolutely certain about the offshore accounts? Once these assets move, they'll be difficult to trace." "That's the point. I want everything ready by the end of the month." Lawrence leaned back. "Reed, as your friend, I have to ask, is everything okay with you and Allison? These arrangements basically cut her out of everything except what would look reasonable to an outside observer." Reed smiled thinly. "Everything's fine. Just being cautious with my business assets, given the expansion." The lie came easily now. "How's the trust for Lily's foundation progressing?" "All set up as requested. The Lily Montgomery Memorial Foundation will be officially recognized next week. Noble cause, helping families with sick children." Reed nodded. The foundation was legitimate. He'd already funded it with $2 million. What Lawrence didn't know was its other purpose. A purpose that would become clear only when the time was right. That evening, Reed hosted a dinner party. Among the guests were Allison's closest friends Paige and Devin. The same friend she complained to about her cold, distant husband and texts Reed had intercepted. The same friends who knew about the affair with Trent, but had kept her secret. "It's so good seeing you out of the house," Paige said, embracing him. Her sympathy seemed genuine, though Reed knew from her messages with Allison that she considered him controlling and emotionally unavailable. "Lily would have wanted life to go on," Reed replied, playing the part of the healing widower perfectly. Throughout dinner, he was charming, attentive to Allison, and subtly generous. He announced a major donation to the Children's Hospital in Lily's name, watching as Allison struggled to maintain her appropriately sad but proud expression. "I'm expanding the business too," Reed told the table. "Opening offices in Miami and possibly internationally. Allison's been my rock through all of this." Under the table, he squeezed her hand. She squeezed back, clearly relieved at his apparent recovery and his continued business success. What she didn't know was that Reed had already begun liquidating his company's most valuable assets and transferring them to holdings she couldn't access. After the guests left, Allison wrapped her arms around him. "That was nice. You seem better." "I'm trying," Reed said. "For both of us." Her phone buzzed with a text. He pretended not to notice how she angled it away from him. From his own phone, mirroring her messages, he knew it was Trent. "How much longer do we have to wait?" "Work never stops," she said with a practiced laugh, quickly typing back soon. "He's getting better. Be patient." Speaking of work, Reed said casually, I'm thinking of having Trent consult on the Miami expansion. He knows the market there, right? Allison nearly dropped her wine glass. Trent? I guess he does. That's generous of you. I know you two are friends, and I could use someone I can trust. Reed watched the guilt and calculation battle on her face. Unless you think it's a bad idea? No. I mean, it's a wonderful idea. He's very talented. Great. I'll set up a meeting next week. Reed kissed her forehead. I'm going to finish some work. Don't wait up. In his office, Reed made a call. She took the bait, he told Nora. Move to phase 2. The next day, Reed met Trent at an upscale restaurant, ostensibly to discuss business opportunities. Trent was nervous, overdressed, clearly uncomfortable sitting across from the man whose wife he was sleeping with, the man whose daughter he had helped kill. I appreciate you meeting me, Reed said, sipping his water. Allison speaks highly of your business acumen. That's generous of her. Trent fidgeted with his cufflinks. Patek Philippe, Reed noted, probably purchased with funds Allison had diverted from their joint accounts. I'll be direct, Reed said. I'm expanding my security consulting firm internationally. I need someone to head the Caribbean and Latin American division. Someone I can trust implicitly. Trent's eyes widened. And you're considering me? Competitive salary, equity options, and relocation to Miami. You be building the division from the ground up. I don't know what to say. The greed in Trent's eyes was unmistakable. Why me? Reed leaned forward. Because Allison trusts you. And right now, that means everything to me. The meeting ended with a handshake and Trent's eager acceptance. As soon as Trent was gone, Reed received a text from his operative who had been watching Allison. She entered the bank as scheduled. Accessed the safe deposit box. Exactly as predicted. While Reed distracted Trent with visions of wealth and power, Allison was retrieving the documents they'd need for their real plan, the one they thought Reed knew nothing about. Everything was unfolding perfectly. The predators had become the prey, though they didn't realize it yet. Later that night, Reed accessed the camera he'd hidden in their bedroom and watched as Allison made a call to Trent. He's offering you the job? That's perfect, she whispered excitedly. We'll have access to everything, his international accounts, client lists, everything we need. Trent's voice came through clearly. How long before we can make our move? Not long. He's still grieving, but he's distracted with business. Vulnerable. The life insurance policy needs 6 more months before the suicide exclusion expires. We can't wait that long. Costa Rica is ready now. Then we do it the other way, Allison said coldly. Accident. Voting. You know people who can make it happen. Reed closed the laptop. He had what he needed. They weren't just planning to steal from him. They were planning to kill him, just as they had killed Lily. He opened his safe and removed a small vial. The same substance that had compromised Lily's immune system, obtained through Nora's connections. Poetic justice was coming. But first, he needed to finish laying the groundwork for their complete destruction. Chapter 5. Webs of Deceit. By the 3rd month after Lily's death, Reed had become expert at leading a double life. On the surface, he was the recovering widower and devoted husband, slowly returning to normal life. Behind the scenes, he was meticulously executing his revenge plan. The offshore transfers are complete, Lawrence confirmed during their secure call. 80% of your liquid assets are now in untraceable accounts. To anyone looking, your company still appears fully operational and profitable. And the documentation for the Costa Rica property, falsified as requested. If someone goes looking, they'll find evidence that Trent and Allison purchased it 6 months ago through shell companies. The money trail leads back to your company accounts they accessed. Perfect. The evidence was elaborate, seemingly careless digital footprints showing Allison and Trent had been embezzling from Reed's company for over a year. Bank records, falsified emails, offshore accounts in their names filled with Reed's supposedly stolen money. All backdated, all utterly convincing. That night, Reed took Allison to dinner at Vertigo, the exclusive rooftop restaurant where he had proposed to her 4 years earlier. She was radiant in a black dress, playing the role of loving wife flawlessly. What's the occasion? She asked as champagne was poured. I've been thinking about Lily, Reed said softly. Allison's face shifted to practice sympathy. about what she would want for us. Oh, honey, she wants us to be happy, to move forward. Reed reached across the table for her hand. I'm taking 2 weeks off. I want us to go to the lake house. Just us. To reconnect. Allison couldn't hide her momentary panic. The lake house was isolated, 3 hours from the city. No witnesses, poor cell service. That sounds wonderful, she managed. But your work can wait. Trent's handling the Miami preparations. Reed watched her calculate. 2 weeks alone with him would delay their plans, but refusing would raise suspicions. When do we leave? Tomorrow. Reed smiled. I've already packed your things. Later that night, he watched through hidden cameras as she called Trent in a panic. The lake house? For 2 weeks? I can't do that. It's perfect, Trent responded. Isolated. No witnesses. We moved the timeline up. You want me to do it at the lake house? Are you insane? We discussed this possibility. The substance is untraceable. Natural causes or accidental drowning. Then you're a grieving widow with an insurance payout and control of his company. There was a long pause before Allison spoke again. Bring it to me tonight. Reed's in his office. Reed closed the laptop and opened a secured text line to Nora. They took the bait. Moving to phase 3. The next morning, they drove to the lake house. Reed pretended not to notice the small vial in Allison's toiletry bag or how carefully she guarded her coffee thermos. He was solicitous, loving, seemingly oblivious. At the lake house, he surprised her with a private chef for their first night, eliminating her immediate opportunity to poison his food. After dinner, he suggested a boat ride the following day, watching her eyes light up with opportunity. That night, he pretended to sleep deeply while she slipped from their bed to make a call on the deck. Tomorrow on the boat, she whispered to Trent. It'll look like an accident. Are your people ready on the Costa Rica end? Everything's set. By this time tomorrow, you'll be a widow, and we'll be millionaires. When she returned to bed, Reed put his arm around her, feeling her stiffen slightly before forcing herself to relax. I love you, he murmured as if half asleep. I love you too, she lied, not knowing that in her coffee thermos, Reed had already replaced her poison with harmless colored water. The game was entering its final phase. After months of gathering evidence, creating false trails, and allowing them to incriminate themselves, Reed was ready for the endgame. Tomorrow, Allison would attempt to kill him on the boat. Instead, she would find herself caught in a trap 3 months in the making. Chapter 6. Masks removed. The morning dawned clear and perfect at the lake house. Reed prepared breakfast, watching Allison carefully adding what she thought was poison to his coffee. He drank it with a smile. Perfect day for the boat, he observed casually. On the water, Reed steered them to the center of the lake. Allison grew increasingly confused and anxious as he showed no signs of illness. Is something wrong? He finally asked. You seem disappointed. What? No, She stopped as Reed reached into a compartment and removed a tablet, turning the screen toward her. On it played a recording of her conversation with Trent from the previous night, planning Reed's accident. The color drained from her face. Reed, I can explain. Like you can explain, Lily? His voice was deadly calm. Confusion crossed her features. What about Lily? The supplements you gave her. The ones that compromised her immune system, so a simple infection would turn deadly. Horror replaced confusion. You think I killed Lily? My own daughter. Not your daughter, Reed said coldly. She was never your daughter. Just like I was never really your husband. We were just means to an end, weren't we? Bank accounts to drain, life insurance policies to cash in. Reed, you're not making sense. I love Lily. I'm her mother. DNA says otherwise. She wasn't your first husband's child. She wasn't yours at all. Allison's shock seemed genuine, but Reed wasn't fooled. He'd seen her act the grieving mother too, convincingly. I didn't poison my coffee this morning, did I? He asked quietly. Allison's eyes darted to the thermos, then back to him. I don't know what you're talking about. Reed held up the vial he'd found in her bag. Looking for this? The same compound found in Lily's blood work. Not quite identical. You learned from that mistake. This one would have looked like a heart attack. Reed, please. 3 months, he continued calmly. 3 months I've watched you and Trent plan my death. 3 months I've gathered evidence, recorded conversations, documented everything. 3 months I've pretended to be the oblivious husband while you plotted to kill me, just like you killed Lily. Allison's face transformed, the mask of loving wife finally dropping. You have no proof of anything. I have everything, Allison. Your conversations with Trent going back a year. The bank transfers. The property in Costa Rica. The life insurance policy. It's your word against mine, she said coldly. And Trent has very powerful friends. Reed's laugh was chilling. Do you think I was just collecting evidence? I was creating it too. As we speak, federal agents are at our house with a warrant. They'll find evidence of embezzlement from my company. Money trails leading to accounts in your name and Trent's. They'll find the research you did on untraceable poisons, the conversations planning my death. Allison's eyes widened. You're lying. Reed held up his phone, showing a live feed from their home security system. Agents were indeed searching the house. The beauty is, I didn't have to fabricate your guilt. I just had to make sure there was evidence of what you were actually doing. They'll never prove. They already have Trent in custody. Nora Bishop, remember her? My friend from military intelligence? She's made sure he was picked up an hour ago. How long do you think he'll protect you once he's facing murder charges? Allison lunged for Reed, her face contorted with rage and fear. He easily sidestepped, watching as she lost her balance and fell hard against the side of the boat. I didn't kill Lily, she screamed. She wasn't even my daughter. She was some brat my ex was raising when I met him. I just played mommy because you fell for the whole package. Instant family, ready-made. Reed felt a cold satisfaction at finally hearing the truth. So you admit you were using me from the beginning? Of course I was using you. Your perfect business, your perfect house, your disgusting devotion to a child that wasn't even yours. Trent and I had plans long before you came along. Reed calmly took out his phone and stopped the recording app. Thank you for that confirmation. Allison's face went slack as she realized what she'd done. The federal agents are real, Reed said quietly. The evidence against you and Trent is real. But there's something I didn't mention. He reached into his jacket and removed an envelope, handing it to her. Open it. With trembling hands, Allison opened the envelope and removed documents. Medical reports, toxicology results, DNA tests. Lily died of pneumonia, Reed said, his voice finally breaking. Natural causes. There was nothing in her system. No poison. No immune suppressants. She just got sick and she died. Allison stared at him in confusion. Then why? Because I needed to know what kind of monster I married. I needed to see how far you would go. Reed's eyes were cold. And now I have. You may not have killed Lily, but you were planning to kill me. You've admitted it, and I have it recorded. The realization of what had happened dawned on Allison's face. You set me up. I gave you an opportunity to show your true self. You did the rest. Reed started the boat's engine. We're going back now. There are people waiting for you. Wait. Desperation filled Allison's voice. Whatever Trent told you, he was the one who planned everything. I can help you get him. All the money he stole from you, I know where it is. There is no stolen money, Reed said simply. I moved my assets months ago. What the Fed will find is evidence I created, but the crimes are real. The intent was real. Your confession just now was real. As the boat approached the dock, Allison could see police vehicles waiting. Reed, please. I'm begging you. I'll disappear. You'll never see me again. That's right, Reed agreed. I won't. The officers approached as they docked. Reed handed them the recording device and vial of poison. Allison was handcuffed and led away, still pleading her case. Nora appeared at Reed's side as they watched the police car drive away. It's done, she said quietly. Trent's already talking, trying to cut a deal. The evidence trail you created is holding up perfectly. Financial crimes, conspiracy to commit murder. They're looking at significant time. Reed felt hollow. The revenge he'd planned so meticulously was complete, but it brought no joy, no relief from grief. What about Lily? Nora asked gently. Do you want to know? No, Reed cut her off. She was my daughter in every way that matters. That's all I need to know. As night fell over the lake, Reed stood alone on the dock. 3 months of living a lie had ended. Justice, his version of it, had been served. But Lily was still gone, and no revenge could bring her back. He took out his phone and pulled up the last photo he had taken of her, laughing on his shoulders at the park, ice cream on her chin, eyes bright with life. "It's done, sweetheart," he whispered to the empty air. "They can't hurt anyone else." Chapter 7. Aftermath. 6 months after Allison's arrest, Reed sat in Lawrence's office reviewing documents. Both Allison and Trent remained in custody awaiting trial, denied bail due to flight risk, specifically their connections to Costa Rica. "The plea deal offers are on the table," Lawrence explained. "The prosecutor is offering Allison 15 years if she testifies against Trent. He's been offered 20 with the possibility of parole." "They deserve worse," Reed said flatly. "For conspiracy and attempted murder, these are substantial sentences." Lawrence hesitated. "There is another development. Allison is claiming she has information about Lily's biological parents." Reed's jaw tightened. "Irrelevant. She wants to trade this information for a better deal. Lily was my daughter. DNA doesn't change that." Lawrence nodded sympathetically. "There's also the matter of your company. With the evidence of their conspiracy made public, clients are returning. The firm is largely recovered." Reed had spent the past months rebuilding what he'd intentionally dismantled. The security consulting business was once again profitable, though he no longer found satisfaction in it. "I'm selling," Reed announced. "Already have a buyer lined up." Lawrence looked surprised. "Are you sure? After all you've done to protect it?" "The company was just a tool, a means to an end." Reed stood and walked to the window. "I've established the Lily Montgomery Foundation with the proceeds. It will provide support for adoptive parents and children." "And what will you do?" Reed had been asking himself the same question. The single-minded focus on revenge that had sustained him was gone, leaving an emptiness he didn't know how to fill. That evening, Reed visited Lily's grave for the first time since the funeral. He'd avoided it, channeling his grief into vengeance instead. Now, with revenge accomplished, the grief remained. He placed fresh flowers beside the small headstone. "I miss you every day," he whispered. A woman's voice came from behind him. "Mr. Montgomery?" Reed turned to find a slender woman with tired eyes. She seemed vaguely familiar, though he couldn't place her. "I'm Meredith. Meredith Banks. I don't know if you remember me." The name clicked. "You were Lily's preschool teacher." She nodded. "I've been wanting to reach out since the funeral, but with everything that happened afterward, with Allison..." She trailed off. "I'm sorry. That's not why I came." "Why did you?" "I volunteer with a group that works with foster children. There's a little boy." She stopped herself. "I'm sorry. This isn't the time." Reed studied her face. "What about him?" "He's 4. His mother died of an overdose. No father in the picture. He's been in 3 foster homes already. He has these drawings." She reached into her bag and pulled out a folded paper. "He drew this for me." The crayon drawing showed 2 stick figures, a tall one and a small one, standing beside what looked like a castle. He said it's his dream home with his dream dad. Meredith's voice softened. "He reminds me so much of Lily. Same imagination. Same heart." Reed took the drawing, something shifting inside him. "What's his name?" "Oliver. Everyone calls him Ollie." 2 weeks later, Reed sat in a small room at the Family Services Center, watching as a small boy with serious eyes and unruly brown hair entered cautiously. "Ollie, this is Mr. Montgomery," the social worker said gently. "He's the one who wanted to meet you." The boy approached carefully, studying Reed with an intensity beyond his years. "Are you going to be my new foster dad?" "I'd like to get to know you first," Reed said honestly. "See if we get along." Ollie considered this. "Do you like dinosaurs?" "Who doesn't? My last foster dad didn't." Ollie's face clouded. "He said they were stupid." "Well, he was wrong about that," Reed said firmly. "Dinosaurs are fascinating. I have some books about them at home." Ollie's face brightened slightly. "Can I see them sometime?" "I'd like that." Over the next months, Reed's life found a new purpose. Weekends with Ollie became the center around which everything else revolved. They visited museums, parks, built elaborate dinosaur habitats, and slowly healed each other's hearts. On a crisp autumn day, Reed received a call from Lawrence. Allison took the plea deal. 15 years, no parole. Trent got 25 when he tried to back out of his cooperation agreement. And the foundation? Fully operational. The first grants went out last week. 20 families receiving adoption assistance. Good. Reed looked out the window to where Ollie was carefully helping the landscapers plant flowers around Lily's memorial garden. The adoption application was already in process. Justice had been served, not by the system, but by Reed's own calculated revenge. Yet the true healing had come not from watching Allison and Trent's destruction, but from finding Ollie, from choosing to build something new from the ashes of betrayal. Chapter 8. Ghosts of the Past. A year after Allison's conviction, Reed sat in his home office reviewing the final adoption paperwork for Ollie. The process had been lengthy, but was finally nearing completion. At 5 years old, Ollie had already spent 6 months living with Reed as his foster son. The house once again filled with children's laughter and dinosaur figures. The doorbell rang. Reed wasn't expecting visitors. Through the security camera, he saw a middle-aged woman with familiar features that sent a chill down his spine. "Can I help you?" he asked through the intercom. "Mr. Montgomery? I'm Patricia Porter, Allison's mother." Reed briefly considered not answering, but curiosity won out. He opened the door, but didn't invite her in. "What do you want?" Patricia looked nervous. "I know what my daughter did. I'm not here to defend her." "Then why are you here?" "Because of Lily." She held out an envelope. "Allison told me things about Lily not being her biological child, about you not knowing the truth." Reed's jaw tightened. "Lily was my daughter." "Yes, she was," Patricia agreed softly. "But don't you want to know where she came from? Who her birth parents were?" "No." The answer came automatically. Patricia nodded sadly. "I understand, but if you change your mind." She placed the envelope on the porch step. "This has everything Allison knew about Lily's origins. Medical history, too. Things that might be important someday." After she left, Reed stared at the envelope for a long time before finally picking it up. He placed it unopened in his safe, unsure if he would ever want the answers it contained. That night, after tucking Ollie into bed with a story about Triceratops, Reed's phone rang with an unknown number. Against his better judgment, he answered. Reed Montgomery. The voice was unfamiliar, female, professional. "Mr. Montgomery, I'm calling from Lakeside Correctional Facility. An inmate, Trent Patterson, has requested to speak with you. He claims to have information regarding the death of your daughter." Reed's hand tightened around the phone. "Tell him to go to hell." "Sir," he was quite insistent. "He said it's about what really happened to Lily and that Allison lied to everyone, including you. My daughter died of pneumonia. Natural causes. Mr. Patterson claims otherwise. He's requesting a meeting." Reed's mind raced. The toxicology reports had been clear. No poison in Lily's system. But what if there was something else? Something he had missed? "I'll think about it," he said finally and ended the call. 3 days later, Reed sat across from Trent Patterson in the prison visiting room. The once handsome man looked haggard, prison clearly not agreeing with him. "You have 5 minutes," Reed said coldly. Trent leaned forward. "Allison lied about everything, including to me. Lily wasn't some random child her ex was raising. Lily was mine." Reed felt as if he'd been struck. "What?" "Allison and I were together before she met her first husband. She got pregnant, but we broke up. She never told me about the baby. Years later, when we reconnected, she mentioned her daughter but led me to believe the child was her husband's. It wasn't until after we started seeing each other again that she admitted Lily was mine." "You expect me to believe this?" Trent's eyes were desperate. "DNA will prove it. I don't expect forgiveness, but you deserve to know. If she was your daughter, why would you—" Reed couldn't finish the sentence. "I never harmed Lily. Neither did Allison. Whatever you think happened, whatever evidence you found or created, Lily's death was exactly what the doctors said. Pneumonia. A terrible, tragic accident." Reed stood abruptly. "Time's up." "There's more," Trent said urgently. "About Ollie." Reed froze. "What did you say?" "The boy you're adopting. Oliver Banks. It's not a coincidence that his teacher brought him to you." "What are you talking about?" Reed's voice was dangerous. "Meredith Banks isn't just Lily's former teacher. She's connected to all of this in ways you don't understand. Ask her about Phoenix. Ask her about the Burns family." Before Reed could respond, Guards appeared to escort Trent back to his cell. DNA doesn't lie, Montgomery. Trent called out as he was led away. Get the test. That evening, Reed did something he'd promised himself he wouldn't do. He opened the envelope from Patricia Porter. Inside were birth records, medical documents, and a handwritten letter that made his blood run cold. According to the documents, Lily had indeed been Trent's biological daughter. But more disturbing were the connections outlined in Patricia's letter. Connections between Allison, Trent, Meredith Banks, and a family called Burns from Phoenix, Arizona. Reed immediately called Nora. I need you to look into someone. Meredith Banks, and a family named Burns from Phoenix. What's going on, Reed? I don't know yet, but something about Ollie's placement with me doesn't feel right. Trent said it wasn't a coincidence. 24 hours later, Nora arrived at Reed's house with a thick folder. Ollie was at school, giving them privacy. You're not going to like this, she warned, spreading photographs and documents across the table. Meredith Banks was born Meredith Burns. She's Trent Patterson's cousin. Reed felt the floor tilt beneath him. What? There's more. The Burns family had connections to a private adoption network that operated in the gray areas of legality. Meredith worked with them before becoming a teacher. Are you saying Ollie is part of some scheme? That his placement with me was engineered? Nora hesitated. I think Meredith deliberately brought Ollie to your attention, yes. But the boy's background checks out. Mother deceased from overdose, no father on the birth certificate. Why would she do this? What's the endgame? I don't know yet, but there's a financial angle I'm still tracking down. Properties held in trust, offshore accounts that might connect to the Burns family. Reed looked at the photo of Meredith, trying to reconcile the kind teacher with this web of deception. Does she know I'm onto her? No reason to think so. But Reed, be careful. If this is some kind of long con, you and Ollie could both be pawns. After Nora left, Reed sat alone, struggling to process these revelations. Had his grief made him vulnerable to manipulation? Was his connection to Ollie part of some elaborate scheme he didn't yet understand? He looked at the photo of Ollie on his desk, gap-toothed smile, trusting eyes. Whatever game was being played, Ollie was innocent. Reed would protect him, just as he had tried to protect Lily. The next day, Reed arranged to meet Meredith at a coffee shop near the school. She arrived, looking nervous but pleased to see him. How is Ollie adjusting? She asked warmly. Very well, Reed replied, studying her face for signs of deception. He talks about you often. Says you were his first real friend. Meredith smiled. He's a special boy. He is. Reed paused. I've been curious about something. How did you come to be his teacher? Before the foster system, I mean. A flicker of tension crossed her features. Just chance, really. His mother enrolled him in the preschool program where I taught. His mother who died of an overdose. Yes. Very sad situation. And you're originally from Phoenix, correct? The Burns family. The color drained from Meredith's face. How did you? I know about your connection to Trent Patterson. I know Lily was his biological daughter. What I don't know is what game you're playing with Ollie and me. Meredith's composure crumbled. It's not what you think. Then explain it to me. Now. She took a shaky breath. Lily wasn't just Trent's daughter. She was my niece. My sister and Trent had a brief relationship years ago. She got pregnant, but they broke up before he knew. My sister couldn't keep the baby. She was young, struggling with addiction. She gave Lily up for adoption, and Allison worked with my family's adoption network. She was supposed to place Lily with a properly vetted family. Instead, she kept her, using the child to attract a husband. Meredith's eyes filled with tears. When I recognized Lily in my class, I couldn't believe it. I started keeping tabs on her or on you. You were a good father to her. And Ollie? Is he related to you too? Another pawn in whatever game your family plays. No. Ollie's background is exactly as I told you. His mother really did die of an overdose. But she hesitated. But what? He needed a father. You needed a son. After what happened with Lily, after seeing how you loved her without any biological connection, I thought it might heal both of you. Reed studied her, uncertain whether to believe this version of events. In the Burns family adoption network, the offshore accounts. Surprise flickered across her face. How much do you know? Enough to destroy whatever is left of your family if you're lying to me. Meredith seemed to make a decision. The network wasn't just about adoptions. It was about money. Rich families paying to skip the system, birth mothers getting more than the legal amounts. My family profited for years. Was Ollie part of that? No. He came through the official foster system. I swear it. Reed wasn't sure he believed her. I want DNA tests. For Lily and for Ollie. I want to know exactly who they are and how they're connected to all of this. Meredith nodded slowly. I'll cooperate however you need me to. As Reed left the coffee shop, he felt the ground shifting beneath his feet once again. The revenge he had meticulously crafted against Allison and Trent now seemed like just one layer of a much more complex deception. But one thing remained clear. He would protect Ollie, no matter what forces were at play. Chapter 9. Ashes to Ashes. 3 weeks after his confrontation with Meredith, Reed sat in Lawrence's office reviewing the results of multiple DNA tests and the findings of Nora's exhaustive investigation. It's all confirmed, Lawrence said, tapping the papers. Lily was indeed Trent's biological daughter with Meredith's sister, Kelly Burns. The adoption was arranged illegally through the Burns family network, with Allison as the facilitator. And Ollie, no relation to any of them. His background is genuine, mother deceased from overdose, father unknown. His placement with you was manipulated by Meredith, but his need for a home was real. Reed absorbed this information, feeling both relief and renewed anger. And the Burns family operations? Nora picked up this thread. Extensive. They've been operating in multiple states for over 15 years, arranging private adoptions for significant fees. Offshore accounts, property holdings, shell companies, the works. Criminal charges? Already in process, Lawrence confirmed. The FBI has been building a case for years. Your situation broke it open. Patricia Porter is cooperating in exchange for immunity. Reed looked out the window at the autumn leaves falling. And what does this mean for Ollie's adoption? It can proceed. He has no connection to the criminal aspects of the case. The court is satisfied that your home is the best placement for him. That evening, Reed sat with Ollie on the back porch, watching the sunset. The boy was carefully coloring a dinosaur picture, his tongue poking out in concentration. Ollie, do you remember your mom? Your birth mom? Ollie looked up, considering. A little. She smelled like flowers sometimes. But she was sad a lot. Do you ever wonder about your dad? Your birth father? Ollie shrugged. Sometimes. But Miss Meredith said sometimes families are made, not born. He looked at Reed seriously. Are you still going to be my dad? Reed pulled him close. Yes. Nothing will change that. Even though I'm not really yours. Like Lily wasn't really yours. The question caught Reed off guard. Who told you that about Lily? I heard you talking to Miss Nora. About tests and real parents. Reed took a deep breath. Family is complicated, Ollie. But love isn't. Lily was my daughter because I loved her and she loved me. That's what makes a family real. Ollie seemed to accept this, returning to his coloring with the matter settled in his mind. Later that night, Reed made a decision. He gathered all the files, all the evidence, all the DNA tests, and placed them in a metal container in the backyard. One by one, he fed the papers into the flames, watching the past turn to ash. When only one document remained, Lily's original birth certificate showing her true parentage, Reed hesitated. This was the truth, the reality of who his daughter had been. After a long moment, he placed it in a sealed envelope and locked it in his safe. Someday, Ollie might want to know the full story. But for now, the past had burned away, leaving only what mattered, the family they were building from the ashes. The next day, Reed visited the prison one last time. Allison looked surprised to see him. I know everything, he said without preamble. About Lily, about the Burns family, about your role in all of it. Allison's face hardened. So what? Does it change anything? We're both still here. Me in prison, you playing grieving father to a child that was never yours. You're right. It changes nothing. Lily was my daughter in every way that mattered. Just like Ollie is my son. Ah yes, the replacement child. How convenient that Meredith found him for you. Reed studied the woman he had once loved. You never understood what family really means. That's why it was so easy for you to betray everyone, Your parents, Trent, me, Lily. Are you here for closure, Reed? Some final moral victory? No. I'm here to tell you that this is the last time you'll ever see me. I'm moving with Ollie, starting fresh where none of this can touch us. A flash of something, perhaps regret, crossed Allison's face. And Trent? Will you tell him the truth about his daughter? He already knows, but it changes nothing for him either. As Reed turned to leave, Allison called after him. You know what the irony is? In the end, you became exactly like me, manipulating evidence, creating false trails, destroying lives for your own satisfaction. How does it feel to look in the mirror and see me looking back? Reed paused at the door. The difference is, I did it for justice. You did it for greed. Keep telling yourself that. Allison laughed bitterly. But we both know the truth. You enjoyed watching us fall. You wanted revenge more than you wanted justice. Reed didn't respond. There was nothing left to say. 3 months later, Reed and Ollie stood on the deck of their new home overlooking the Pacific Ocean. The adoption was finalized. The house was filled with dinosaur models and children's books, and the Lily Montgomery Foundation was flourishing under Nora's guidance. Do you think Lily would have liked it here? Ollie asked, peering at the waves crashing below. She would have loved it, Reed said truthfully. She always wanted to see the ocean. I wish I could have known her. Me too, buddy. But she knows about you, and she's happy we found each other. Ollie considered this with the seriousness of a child contemplating the universe. Like a family puzzle. The pieces find each other, even when some are missing. Reed smiled at the unexpected wisdom. Exactly like that. As the sun set over the water, Reed reflected on the long, twisted path that had led him here. The betrayal, the grief, the revenge, the revelations, all of it had forged a new beginning from the ashes of the past. Allison had been right about one thing. The line between justice and revenge had blurred. But where she saw similarity, Reed recognized the crucial difference. His actions, however calculated and ruthless, had ultimately been about protecting the innocent and punishing the guilty. He had stepped into darkness to serve the light. Now, watching Ollie's face light up at a dolphin breaking the surface of the water, Reed knew he had made the right choice. The cycle of deception and revenge had ended. In its place was something authentic and healing, a second chance at being a father, at creating a family built on truth rather than lies. From the ashes of betrayal, something new and genuine had emerged. And that, Reed decided, was the truest revenge of all. And there you have it. Another story comes to an end. What did you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this story, consider joining our community by subscribing. It means the world to us. For more stories like this one, check out the recommended videos on screen. And I'll see you there.